Vanessa and Leah had been sisters by blood, but their bond had never been one of warmth and closeness. Vanessa, the elder by 3 years, was everything Leah had always wanted to be: stunningly beautiful, effortlessly charming, and the favorite of everyone around her. Their parents adored Vanessa, showering her with praise for her accomplishments, while Leah lived in her shadow, unnoticed and unappreciated. It had always been that way. But the real breaking point came when Ryan entered the picture. Ryan was everything Leah had ever dreamed of: handsome, kind, successful. He was Vanessa's boyfriend of 2 years, and to Leah, that was the cruelest twist of fate. Why did Vanessa get everything? Why did she get Ryan? At first, Leah tried to suppress her feelings. She told herself it was just admiration, just a silly crush. But admiration turned into jealousy, and jealousy soon grew into obsession. Leah began analyzing every little interaction between herself and Ryan. She convinced herself that he enjoyed her company more than Vanessa's, that he smiled at her in a way he never did with her sister. Late at night, Leah lay awake, staring at the ceiling, imagining what it would be like if Vanessa weren't in the picture. What if she were gone? What if Ryan belonged to her instead? It was an idea she dismissed at first, but once the seed was planted, it grew roots deep inside her. And then came the moment that changed everything. Vanessa announced she and Ryan were getting engaged. Leah's heart stopped. The world around her blurred. She couldn't let this happen. That night, she decided Vanessa had to go. Leah couldn't get the thought out of her mind: Vanessa had to go. The idea had started as a whisper in the back of her mind, but now it was a screaming obsession that she couldn't ignore. Every moment she spent in that house, every time she saw Ryan kiss Vanessa or hold her hand, felt like a slow form of torture. That should be me, she told herself over and over again. She began studying Vanessa more closely: her routine, her habits, her weaknesses. She needed to find a way to drive a wedge between her and Ryan. If she could break them up, maybe she wouldn't have to go through with anything drastic. Maybe Ryan would realize that Vanessa wasn't the one for him and see Leah for who she really was. Leah started with subtle manipulation. She planted seeds of doubt in Ryan's mind, making small, innocent-sounding comments. Vanessa seems really stressed lately. Do you think she's happy? I saw Vanessa texting someone late last night. Do you know who it was? Ryan always brushed it off at first, but Leah could see the confusion in his eyes. She just needed to push a little harder. But Vanessa wasn't stupid. She sensed Leah's hostility, the way her younger sister lingered too close to Ryan, how she always seemed to be around whenever they were together. One night, Vanessa confronted Leah. Why do you keep meddling in my relationship? Vanessa demanded, her voice sharp. Leah smiled sweetly, feigning innocence. I'm just looking out for you, sis. But in her heart, Leah knew it was only a matter of time before Vanessa was out of the way for good. Vanessa's confrontation had shaken Leah, but not enough to stop her. If anything, it only fueled her resentment. Vanessa was catching on, and that meant Leah had to move faster. She had tried subtlety, but it wasn't working. Ryan still loved Vanessa, still planned to marry her. Leah couldn't let that happen. One evening, as Vanessa was getting ready for a dinner date with Ryan, Leah lingered outside her bedroom door, listening to her hum softly to herself. Every sound Vanessa made irritated Leah. Every breath felt like a reminder of everything she didn't have. Then, a cruel idea formed in her mind. If breaking them up wasn't working, maybe she needed to destroy Vanessa's reputation instead. Leah took Vanessa's phone when she wasn't looking and sent a series of messages to another man, pretending to be her. She made sure to craft each text perfectly, flirty, suggestive, incriminating. Then, with a wicked grin, she left the phone where Vanessa would find it. An hour later, chaos erupted. Ryan had seen the messages. Vanessa was crying, shouting that she had no idea what was going on, but Ryan refused to believe her. Leah stood in the shadows, watching her sister's world crumble. But Vanessa wasn't weak. She fought back. She stormed into Leah's room, rage burning in her eyes. "You did this," she screamed, grabbing Leah by the wrist. "You've always been jealous, but this is evil." Leah, caught off guard, felt a deep panic rise in her chest. She hadn't expected Vanessa to fight back so hard. She realized, in that moment, that her sister would never let this go. And that meant there was only one way out. Vanessa's accusations echoed in Leah's mind long after their confrontation ended. She knew the truth now. There was no undoing the damage Leah had caused, and Vanessa wasn't the type to stay silent. She would tell Ryan everything, maybe even their parents. Leah could see it all unraveling, Ryan hating her, her family turning against her, her entire world falling apart. She couldn't let that happen. That night, as Leah lay in bed staring at the ceiling, a dark idea took root. She had spent months trying to push Vanessa out of Ryan's life, but it hadn't worked. Now, she had only one option left. If Vanessa was gone, there would be no one left to expose Leah's lies. No one left to stand in the way. Ryan would grieve, but Leah would be there to comfort him, to fill the empty space Vanessa left behind. The thought alone sent a thrill through her. Leah started planning the next morning. She knew Vanessa liked to go jogging alone in the evening, the perfect time, the perfect place. Leah researched methods, scanning the internet for accidents, poisons, anything that could look natural. But nothing seemed foolproof. She needed something quick, something clean. Then, she found it. A simple push. A fall from the wooded trail behind their house. The terrain was rocky, steep. If Vanessa lost her footing, no one would suspect foul play. As Leah watched Vanessa tie her running shoes that evening, she knew this was it. "Be careful," Leah said sweetly as her sister stepped out the door. But in her mind, she was already picturing how it would end. Vanessa wasn't coming back. That fateful evening, the woods behind the house whispered of secrets and impending doom. Vanessa laced up her running shoes with her usual determined grace, unaware that tonight would be different. Leah, concealing her inner turmoil behind a fragile smile, trailed at a discreet distance along the winding trail. Every step Vanessa took seemed to echo in Leah's ears, each one a reminder of the life Vanessa embodied, a life that had always been hers to envy. As Vanessa ran deeper into the forest, the path became rugged and treacherous. Leah's heart pounded in synchrony with the rhythmic footsteps of her elder sister. With every turn, the rocky ground grew more unstable, setting the stage for the unthinkable. Leah's mind raced. She recalled the plan she had meticulously devised, the cold calculation that had led her to this moment. The plan was simple, a sudden push at the precise moment when Vanessa's footing was most vulnerable. Leah quickened her pace until she was nearly abreast with Vanessa. In a split second, as Vanessa rounded a sharp bend on a narrow, slippery section of the trail, Leah intercepted her. A whispered apology lost in the wind, a deceptive smile meant to mask the storm within, then, without warning, Leah grabbed Vanessa's arm. With a force driven by years of pent-up jealousy and desperation, she shoved her elder sister. Vanessa's startled cry pierced the silence as she staggered, losing her balance on the jagged slope. Time slowed as she tumbled down the rocky embankment, limbs flailing helplessly. The sound of impact echoed through the trees, followed by an eerie stillness. Leah stood frozen at the edge of the trail, watching in disbelief as the life Vanessa had so effortlessly carried away with her vanished amid the darkness of the woods. In that moment, the betrayal was complete, Vanessa was gone, and the course of their lives was forever altered. Leah stood at the edge of the rocky slope, her breath coming in short, panicked gasps. The forest, once alive with the sounds of chirping birds and rustling leaves, now felt eerily silent. Vanessa wasn't moving. Her sister's body lay twisted at the bottom of the embankment, tangled in the undergrowth. Leah's mind screamed at her to run, to leave before anyone saw, but her legs refused to move. She had planned this moment so carefully, imagined how it would unfold, but now that it had happened, the weight of it pressed down on her chest, suffocating her. Finally, she forced herself to move. Think. No one had seen her follow Vanessa into the woods. No one knew she was there. If she could act normal, there would be no reason for suspicion. This had to look like an accident. With a shaky breath, Leah took out her phone and dialed. "Mom? It's Leah. Vanessa hasn't come back from her run. I think something's wrong." The performance came naturally, just the right amount of worry, just enough fear in her voice. Within minutes, her parents were out searching, their shouts echoing through the trees. Leah stayed behind, biting her nails, pretending to be too anxious to join them. Then, a scream. Her mother's wail sliced through the air like a blade. "Oh God! Call an ambulance!" Her father's panicked voice followed, but Leah already knew it was too late. There would be no saving Vanessa. As the sirens wailed in the distance, Leah finally allowed herself to breathe. She had done it. Vanessa was gone. But as she looked at Ryan, who had arrived moments later, horror etched across his face, Leah realized one thing. Winning his love wouldn't be as easy as she thought. Leah sat on the living room couch, her hands trembling as she clutched a cup of tea. The house was drowning in sorrow, her mother hadn't stopped crying, and her father sat in silence, staring blankly at the floor. Vanessa was dead, and the entire family was unraveling. Exactly as Leah had planned. But something was wrong. Ryan hadn't spoken to her since Vanessa's body was found. At the funeral, he kept his distance, his eyes red-rimmed, his jaw clenched in grief. Leah had expected him to break, to fall into her arms for comfort. Instead, he looked at her as if she were a stranger. She couldn't let this happen. That night, she found him sitting alone by the lake near his house, staring at the water. This was her moment. "Ryan," she whispered, stepping closer. He didn't look at her. "She didn't deserve this," he said, his voice hollow. She had so much ahead of her. Leah swallowed hard. "I know, but accidents happen. No one could have known." "Accident?" He turned to her now, his eyes sharp. "She was always so careful. It doesn't make sense." Panic tightened Leah's chest. She forced out a shaky sigh. "Ryan, you're exhausted. We all are. You can't dwell on this." But he wasn't listening. His gaze dropped to her hands, her nails, chewed to the quick. A habit she only had when she was lying. A slow, dreadful realization filled his face. "Leah, why were you the one to call it in before we even found her?" Her pulse pounded. The perfect lie was starting to crack. Leah felt the weight of Ryan's stare pressing down on her like a heavy stone. The quiet between them was suffocating, each second stretching into eternity. He was piecing it together, too fast, too soon. "Ryan, stop looking at me like that," she said, forcing a weak chuckle. "Like what?" His voice was sharp, edged with something dangerous. She swallowed hard. "Think, Leah. Think. Like I'm guilty, she whispered. Ryan exhaled sharply, running a hand through his hair. Doubt was setting in, but she could still salvage this. Leah, he hesitated. You called the police before we even found her. How did you know Vanessa was in the lake? Her blood turned ice cold. She hadn't realized she had done that. In the chaos of that night, she must have slipped. Leah's breath hitched. Lie. Just lie. I was worried. I had a feeling. Call it intuition. Ryan's eyes narrowed. That's not how this works. Silence. Leah's heartbeat thundered in her ears. Then, Ryan stood up. I'm going to the police. Leah's entire body tensed. No. 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 This couldn't happen. If he told them what he suspected, they'd start digging. They'd find the evidence. Ryan, please, she grabbed his arm. You loved me once, can't we talk about this? But he was already stepping away, his phone in his hand. Desperation clawed at her throat. If he went to the police, her life was over. And Leah wasn't about to lose everything she had killed for. Leah's mind spiraled as she watched Ryan dial. She couldn't let him make that call. Ryan, stop, she pleaded, her voice shaking. But he ignored her, stepping toward the front door. Panic. Fear. Rage. It all surged at once. She lunged forward, grabbing his arm. Leah, let go, he snapped, but she tightened her grip. Please, just listen, she begged. I didn't mean for this to happen. Ryan froze. What did you just say? Her breath hitched. She had slipped. Again. His expression twisted into horror. Oh my God, you did it. Leah's vision blurred with tears. There was no more lying. No more pretending. I loved you, Ryan, she whispered. I did this for us. He yanked away from her. You're sick. His voice was laced with disgust. Something inside Leah snapped. Before she even realized it, her hands found the heavy glass vase on the side table. One chance. One move. She swung. The crash echoed through the house. Ryan staggered, then crumpled to the floor. Blood seeped from his temple, spreading across the carpet. Leah gasped, heart pounding. What had she done? Her hands trembled as she reached down. Ryan's chest still moved. Unconscious, but alive. She backed away, breath ragged. She had no choice now. The siren screamed in the distance. Someone had called the police. She had minutes, maybe seconds. Leah looked down at Ryan, her love, her almost everything. Then, she bolted for the back door. Because if she was going down, she wasn't going down without a fight. As the echoes of sirens grew louder, Leah's heart pounded with a frantic rhythm. The walls of her meticulously crafted facade had finally closed in around her. In the dim light of the fading evening, she stood frozen in the living room, the very room where her web of lies had unraveled. The cold, clinical voices of approaching police penetrated the heavy silence. Every step they took seemed to draw her inexorably toward her final reckoning. She tried to steady herself, but her trembling hands betrayed her inner chaos. The night's events, the push on the trail, the carefully staged accident, the whispered lies, had all culminated in this single, crushing moment. In the back of her mind, she replayed every calculated move, every moment of desperate hope that had led her to believe she could control fate. Now, those hopes lay shattered on the floor like broken glass. A knock at the door shattered the stillness. A police officer's firm voice called out, "Open up. We know you're in there." Panic surged through Leah as she stumbled toward a window, her only thought to escape the inevitable. But the heavy drapes and closed curtains offered no refuge from the harsh reality of flashing red and blue lights. Realizing escape was impossible, Leah sank to her knees, the weight of her actions crushing her spirit. The echo of footsteps grew closer until the door burst open and officers flooded into the room. Their faces were impassive, their eyes void of the judgment that had haunted her every thought. In that moment, the relentless tide of consequences swept over her. As handcuffs clicked shut around her wrists, Leah's mind went blank. There was no heroic escape, no dramatic confession, only the bitter, inescapable truth: there was no way out now. Leah thought she could outsmart fate, that her desires could justify her actions. But in the end, the truth had a way of surfacing, dragging her down with it. The love she craved turned into obsession, and that obsession led her to murder. Now, as she sits behind bars, haunted by the ghost of the sister she betrayed, one question lingers: was it all worth it? What drives someone to commit such a horrifying crime? Was it jealousy, desperation, or something even darker lurking beneath the surface? Let us know what you think in the comments below. If you found this story gripping, don't forget to like this video, subscribe to the channel, and hit the notification bell so you never miss another chilling true crime story. We'll be back with more shocking cases that will leave you questioning everything. Until next time, stay safe, and remember, sometimes the biggest threats come from those closest to us.